Gambler's vocals, wow. She is so good. She is such a good vocalist.
She's so good. But here's the thing. This is why I have a question. Why is it that the Panther is like the leader of the group? Like he's the lead singer. I mean, he's not the leader.
He's the front man, Colin.
Why is it that he isn't commander? Because he's commanding them.
Because they chose their names. Because they didn't expect this crazy Proto-Men thing to turn into this. That just have to make sense, Colin.
Well, whatever.
Does Gambler have a gambling addiction? Does she go to Atlantic City and blow all her money? I don't know. But
I bet.
You bet she does? Great. Super.
Wow. Whatever's happening over here.
I'm going to put the mic against the wall and see if you can get a little bit of this. I don't know if that picked up, but some surfaces are very conductive of sound. Whoa, okay. Yeah, there's some serious bass going on over there.
Hey, it's working.
Yeah? Apparently.
Yes.
Colin just got a text asking if he was leaning against the wall to stay awake. The answer is yes.
It's because I was in the mosh pit, as was Cap.
We were moshing. Yes.
Whew, that was a mosh pit. An amazing mosh pit, no less. We're up line. We're on. Oh, so we're just gonna run it to see what happens.
Yep. Okay. Here's Null Sleep already in progress. No, it's not Null Sleep. Sorry, I don't know what letting it run means. You mean? Oh. Oh. Okay. Apparently. Apparently, the thing that I did when I put the mic against the wall, if you could detect any of that, that's kind of what we're getting from the audio board next door. So if we were to give you Null Sleep, you would get and we don't know why exactly, but that's what's happening. So are we piping over the video for that right now, or no? They're looking at me. Hi guys. Sorry for the confusion, but we'll get everything sorted out as soon as humanly possible. There's a lot of stuff that's out of my control. I'm just the face, and Colin's just the other face. And remember in Toxic Crusaders where there was that surfer guy and that scientist got molded together, and they were like the odd couple.
Yeah, I'll be the surfer.
Okay.
Okay, you're the scientist.
That's fine. And then we'd go into it, but honestly, last time I saw that show was when it was on television. Okay. So I just remember that for some reason. The action figure line was really good. Man, they were doing things with that line that were like leagues beyond what they were doing with Ninja Turtles at the time. Playmates, they really kicked ass back then. I'm really not into what they're doing these days. But, more power to them. They're still around. There's a lot of toy companies that can't say that. Maybe it's just because I love the new Turtles show, but the character designs generally they don't really translate into like crazy action figures like the original series. Right. So they're very streamlined.
But what are you talking about? I love that. Remember when you had the Komodo dragon? It was red and it had the neck and it came out.
Colin, that was hot stuff, and he was based off the Warrior Dragon from the Ninja Turtles comics, except that he was yellow, but the action figure was red.
No, you don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
And then they had the lion. Remember, you had the lion who was King Arthur?
King Lionheart, if I remember correctly, yeah.
And an elephant who was a voodoo priest.
Yeah, that was like Dr. X or something, I think.
Like that. And then, what else? There was a,
Keep going, Colin.
Was there a giraffe? I think there was a giraffe.
There was a giraffe.
Or a camel or something? Yeah.
There was a giraffe and a camel.
Okay.
They went through the whole menagerie. But that was when things started getting stupid. They're like, here's a crazy looking ant. I mean, they were cool. They're cool.
Here's the thing, though. That's the kind of stuff that I loved. I loved getting action figures.
I loved that way more than like, let's dress up a Ninja Turtle. Like, here's like, freaking, like the sports turtles, happy birthday turtles, where then for some reason they're like, here's a line of Turtles figures based on like birthday party motifs, like a clown and a magician and stuff, and then they didn't make all 4 turtles. One of them got left out. Like, at least do the whole set. I don't know, maybe
he didn't get a birthday. a very happy unbirthday for Michelangelo.
Why wasn't there like a Master Splinter dressed in like a suburban dad outfit? It was always the turtles, but they learned very quickly that the only thing that sells the main characters. That's why they just keep printing Batman figures in different colors.
Yeah, but you had to get the underwater Batman figure and the snow Batman figure, and because the underwater one, he was yellow so that you could see him, and he came with a little submarine, and you could take him underwater.
That was Batman Returns, right? That was the part of the Batman Returns line for some reason.
Yes, it was, and then you had the snow one, the Arctic Batman. I think Arctic Batman was actually my favorite. He was great.
How about how, like, typically in the Batman film lines, they would, like, not only have all these Batmans, but they typically get something really wrong. Yeah. Like, the Penguin figure for Batman Returns was a repaint of the Penguin figure from before, from before the '89 film, and he was like basically Adam West 1970s comics Penguin. He wasn't Danny DeVito even remotely. And then in Batman and Robin, Batgirl was like wearing a full face mask, no hair. I mean, I didn't like the movie, but like at least the action figure could have been accurate because I did buy it before the film came out and I knew how bad it was. Also, I was a child, so you make mistakes. I don't really buy action figures anymore except for Ghostbusters, except for Winston, because I really want to buy a Winston figure more than anything. I want to buy a Winston figure, but Mattel decided to never make a good Winston figure. Go figure. Welcome to Go Figure with Cap and Colin.
Do you remember that? Do you remember those turtle figures where they had the giant shells that were?
Are we talking the storage shells or transforming turtles?
It was not. Well, I had the transforming
mutations.
The mutations is a different story. But the ones where
the talking turtle.
Yeah, where you put the thing in it and you pulled it through and it was like yeah.
This is before for all you youngins out here. This is before voice chips were like cheap enough for people to actually put in action.
Push a button and it would say that.
So these guys had these big manhole cover things about the size of like 2 hockey pucks on top of each other, and they came with little red strips of plastic that had ridges on them and a little phrase imprinted on it. So you would slide that through and pull it through real quick, or at a pace that made sense.
It's pizza time.
Yeah, it's pizza time. It's pizza time. So it's like a record. It was like a weird ass record.
Yeah. Or it was like it's pizza time. It depends on how quickly you pull.
So I think we're. Am I wrapping it up or am I stretching it?
This means to wrap it up. This means to stretch it out.
You can't tell me both things. I'm looking to you for. No.
Wrap up the stretch.
I like this conversation.
We actually can talk about this as opposed to other
Wait,
things.
would you like me to? We have a flow going here.
Yeah.
And if we're just filling time and trying to amuse the people who are still watching the stream, and we hope you're going to stick with us so we can watch the rest of the shows. But like, if you're still here, I don't. Or does the chat want us to talk about something else? Because we will.
Yeah. Hey, let's have a microsode discussion right now based on what they chat.
We can't. No.
I'm saying they make a suggestion. We'll talk about it.
Somebody suggests something, we'll talk about it. I'm going to pull up the Nerdy Show Twitter, and we're going to it's at Nerdy Show. Let's see what's going on here. And meantime,
all right. So you had the transforming turtles. What did they transform? Mutations. What did they transform into? Do you remember?
They turned into baby turtles.
Oh, baby turtles. That's right. Hutch University said that he had those voice strip turtles. Yes. No, I had them.
They were awful. They were just awful.
I had one. I got Donatello.
Because you couldn't really play with them, and the feature wasn't good enough.
No.
I don't know what the price point was because I was a child.
Well, because they're giant. They're giant shells. You couldn't they weren't compatible with any of the toy sets.
Because you're not. It's like so. I'm playing with my turtles, and here's I got a regular Leonardo, and he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But instead, I'm going to use this other Leonardo because he says it's pizza time when I roll this thing. So it's like, hey, what's up, Mondo Gecko? Are you hungry? Because it's pizza time. and then I put that one away and I bring back regular Leonardo.
Yes.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
He's the sub, man. You sub him in.
I don't know what it is.
He's like a stand-in.
Colin, have you ever had dreams about action figures that don't exist?
And action figures that don't exist?
Yeah.
Like that I want to exist?
Uh-huh.
I mean, gosh, I don't even know. I mean, it would be fun to have some really just real. You know what? Actually, I would really love, and they probably do exist. Would be some nice Turtles figures that are on the level of what was it McFarlane was doing with Spawn. Because I really loved the art of those figures from the Spawn.
Oh, I got a segue here. This is something I missed. It's from an hour ago. The Fifth Sister said, at Nerdy Show, loving the feed. I had dreams that had Nerdy Show intervals last night. Slanty Face, you're all doing a fantastic job.
If you're still listening, that's awesome.
That's awesome. And there's more of this kind of stuff at nerdyshow.com. We would be a fool to not plug this. If you're enjoying what you hear, then subscribe to us on iTunes and get a whole load of stuff that you might like. But Hutch University says stick with the TMNT talk, and he's all that's giving us an opinion on that right now.
Okay, well,
so but we will tweet about it if the stream comes back online as per request.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I've had dreams about action figures. I don't know how many people out there are familiar with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventures comics that were put out by Archie. Now you say, oh fuck Archie, we don't want that. That's not Archie's lame. Right. But the Adventures comics was written by Steve Murphy, long-running TMNT author under the name Dean Clarrain, and it is actually the longest-running stretch of Ninja Turtles comics ever with the same author.
Right.
And they were very much like, you could say they're for all ages, but they were really more towards adult, which is ultimately why they got canceled. Very violent, very realistic. I mean, they built up over time. So incredible cast of characters, and really more true to what people would think of Turtles. And I mean, like they're more realistic than the '89 cartoon, more attuned to the crazy animal mutations and everything that kids were familiar with. But then also like it's kind of a merger of all the best things about Ninja Turtles in this one comic, right? So there's a character in there, Ninjara. She's a kitsune fox ninja from Japan.
Is she similar to Usagi Jimbo?
No,
Usagi. Is that a different universe?
Yeah, Usagi was created by Stan Sakai, and he's his own comic book universe. But they were Eastman and Laird, the creators of Turtles, were good friends with him, so he crossed over a lot.
Gotcha.
They're actually trying to make a Space Usagi cartoon. Remember the Space Usagi figure back in the day?
Yeah.
They were trying to make a Space Usagi cartoon, never got picked up by anybody. Wow. Can you believe how cool would that have been? Anyway, okay. Keep talking about Space Usagi, Colin. Good luck with that.
Okay, so Space Usagi Yojimbo. He went into space, and as he traveled into space, he would he would look for space carrots, and he would search for space carrots deep into the recesses of all the planets and all the craters of all of the asteroids and planets that he would search for in the universe. Now, he wasn't looking for just specific space carrots. He was looking for very specifically special space carrots.
Are you making things up, or do you know this stuff?
I know this stuff. Space carrots, right? Usagi Jimbo.
Sure. Why not? Why the hell not?
I'm trying to actually get Matt Spill to come back. Because
we do have some Star Wars stuff we should talk about, and he's our big State of the Empire guy.
I'm trying to get him to come back, so we'll see if Matt Spill will.
Okay, so where I was going with that, Ninjara is incredibly dynamic, powerful female character, the likes of which were very uncommon at that time, and really many people have learned from that kind of a character. She's really cool. Started off as a nemesis, became a love interest for Raphael and a friend of the Turtles. Very complicated, very realistic, emotional story. Anyway, chances are if you were a teenage kid, you kind of fell in love with her, probably. Very likely. So I've had. Shut up. I mean, obviously, Colin. Obviously. So I had a dream well after the series had ended. I was walking through a Toys R Us. You know how when you're a little kid and the aisles of Toys R Us used to go up to the sky, and it was dark.
It was
dark
on forever.
Yeah. So I had a dream that oh my god, there's a new line of Turtles out. This is weird. This is as the whole thing was winding down. The Turtles machine was winding down at this point in my life, and there's an Ninjara figure there, but it wasn't because it was Playmates. It wasn't. Trust me, I'm going with somewhere with this. It wasn't a regular Ninjara figure. It was a WNBA Ninjara figure. She was playing basketball, Colin.
Did she come with a basketball?
Yeah, she had a hoop throwing thing, just like that one Donatello figure.
So you press the button and it
Well, no, you pull her back, and I mean this is purely. I mean, it was definitely inspired by the actual Donatello basketball.
Nice, that's awesome.
It was just oh, typical Playmates. But and this is me as a kid still thinking.
I love that you have given her something that's lame in your dream. Even in your dream, you're dreaming that they're going to give her a lame gimmick.
There's nothing lame about the WNBA call, but it should just be. Well, okay, fans of the series might not know this. The Ninja Turtles film, the CGI one, TMNT, that was produced by Magi Studios. This there was a sequence that took place in the Amazon in this movie. So Playmates was going to create a line of figures just inspired by the film, not directly associated with the film, and it had a pretty decent figure line. So they were actually going to make an action figure of one of the oldest characters from TMNT Adventures, which is big fan love character, Jaguar. They were going to make a Jaguar figure, and this is only a few years ago.
That's crazy.
And they backed out of it.
C'est la vie, Cap. C'est la vie.
I know. And recently, I actually had another Ninjara action figure dream, but that's another. That's we already. It wasn't funny like the other one. It was actually kind of more bizarre and interesting. But as Jennifer would say, no one wants to hear about your dreams. No one cares.
That Jennifer. Speaking of Jennifer, if you don't know who Jennifer is, you're
just as bad as the Game Master, Colin.
I know. Jennifer comes from a tabletop role-playing podcast that we call Dungeons and Doritos. Dungeons and Doritos kind of started off as a joke where we were sitting around playing D&D, and, well, the four main folks were playing Cap, Hex, Mike Pandell when he was alive, and Brian Clevenger. They were playing D&D, and it kind of exploded. So now we have completely taken it to a new level. It's like a radio drama with sound effects and an original score by by Level 99, who was in Overclocked University. So it is quite a production. It is by far our most popular show.
Yeah. Did you say the part about being a radio play, basically?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool.
So now you have to go, because now you've taken my role of coming in when the conversation has continued. But I'm not going to let you leave.
DungeonsandDoritos.com.
Check it out. So, all right, Cap. If you were going to make an action figure of Jamala,
of Jamela Dal Egbert III, Colin,
how would you? What?
36 points of articulation.
Okay, first of all, no, but you have to pick a gimmick. She can't just come out normally. There has to be a gimmick.
Do you know why I bought Toy Biz's Marvel figures far, far longer than I ever should have? Because for a very long time, they all had action features, and that was so cool. Not only did they just pump out random characters, many of whom were just awful for years and years. Oh, this random character showed up in X-Force, and it's this horribly drawn, clunky guy with huge boots named Comcast. Sure, here's an action figure of him. Whatever. Yeah, I bought it. I don't care. So I didn't know who half the characters were, and I was reading the books. So they all had action features, and that was great. There was always something. So Jamela, she has light powers. I would use light piping.
Oh, really?
Light piping is where you have a clear plastic that comes in from like a sort of top point of the figure, and it comes out the front if there's a light source above it. They use it with Jawa action figures an awful lot.
Oh, for the
it looks
eyes.
really cool. Now, what would Jamela do with that? That's difficult. I would love to see light piping that came from the top of the wrists. Like, Jamela wears a lot of jewelry, and so if she had, say, some like bracers or something that were technically made of like shiny metal, you could have a clear surface and it wouldn't look weird. So if you have if the palms are solid, they could have light blast coming out of them. That's my idea.
Okay.
What am I doing?
Josh, welcome to the Nerdy Show Nerdpalooza live stream.
This is Josh.
Hi.
He's a huge. Not only is he in Random Encounter, but he is instrumental to this festival.
Didn't you take over for Hex? Officially, didn't he hand it down? This transition, is he's handing it to you?
We're sharing it basically at this point. It's me and Hex and the others and Aaron and Nina and Brian and everybody. So yeah. But yeah,
I can't believe that you're actually here to be able, and you're not moving around right now.
Oh, you waved me over. I was actually on my way to go talk to the They Might Be Giants. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we got to find out about that.
All right.
I love you.
I love you.
You've done a nice job, sir. I love you. You are a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. Oh, funny story from the Protoman crowd. This is kind of atypical, but just so you could feel like you were there, even though you haven't seen the video yet because you weren't able to see it, and I'm really sorry about that. But we'll be posting it later. Pinky swear. There's lots of, Protoman, you got a fist pump all the time. So first time it happens, fists go up, armpits. Nothing but armpits everywhere. Just the deepest armpit stink.
Oh, my Lord. That was horrible.
Being a human, fighting against the robots, it's all about that visceral human experience.
You have to fight. You have to fight the armpit stink. That was what they're talking about. Come fight with us. It's fight the armpit stink.
Well, they should be spraying down the audience.
They should be.
But no, it's all about being sweaty and rubbing against each other and being in the mosh pit.
That's right.
That's what it's all about at the Protoman shows.
Matt Spill, I'm trying to get him to come down here. We want
There was some interesting Star Wars news that happened today during all this. Weirdly enough, today on a Saturday. So we do a show as part of Nerdy Show. It's under the Nerdy Show banner called State of the Empire, which is our Star Wars speculation podcast. Ever since Disney got the rights to Star Wars and things started cooking in that department, well, it's been, we never expected to have hopes and dreams related to Star Wars ever again. So now we do, and now we theorize on a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm not on that podcast, but I do enjoy it quite a lot. I think that you guys come up with some really great ideas, especially my favorite part is Willow Watch.
Thank you. I'm glad you like Willow Watch. I talked to someone who works at Disney at a relatively high position and confirmed that they did inherit the rights to Willow. So, now we have a section on State of the Empire every single episode called Willow Watch because Willow is a fantastic fantasy film and there needs to be a sequel or something. And here's the crazy news. Here's what you might not know, but you could learn from listening to State of the Empire. There has been so much development. They could start production on a Willow television series, like a Game of the Thrones style television series, today. They were developing in the 1980s a Willow animated series. Did you not listen to that episode?
I did, but I'm still surprised. I'm reacting.
Okay.
I'm reacting.
Okay. There was a Willow animated series playing. There's character designs and everything. So that whole thing was story arced out there. Of course, there were 2 novels that George Lucas did with Chris Claremont, which I heard weren't very good. In fact, a fan told me to save my time and not read them because he actually quit. He could literally not read anymore. He kind of rage quit. I still kind of need to do it, or at least attempt to, but I also read the Willow novelization recently, and you can tell by reading this book that this guy was given a Bible of material about Willow's world that was extensive. It is the Willow film that would be produced if Willow was created today with the special effects and everything available to make it even more. Because Willow, by comparison to Lord of the Rings, is relatively tame.
See, that's me not reacting. So how did that feel?
It's fine. It's fine. It's good.
All right, then I'll just.
Okay. So, So the novelization it feels very authentic, like not just an author imposing his imagination on the story, like maybe what he was actually given of George Lucas's original notes or initial drafts or so on. So it's we actually were thinking about getting the author on, but the author's dead. So still thinking about getting the screenwriter of Willow on. That might lend to some stuff. But also there was a Willow source book that's put out. It's very expensive. I haven't tracked it down yet. And it was effectively a tabletop role-playing manual for Willow. It even gave character stats. There's no system attached to it, but it gives you this whole world-building book and character stats for all of Willow. Yeah.
Wow. So we could do a podcast, a Willow RPG podcast.
It would take some very serious adaptation and a lot of pre-production, but yes, we could do that.
Wow.
I bought the Willow NES game off of eBay not too long ago. I haven't cracked it open yet, but I really would like to do kind of a streaming playthrough or something. But I would wager it is crazy hard and I might never beat it. So I don't know how much trouble I'm inviting on myself.
That's on SNES or NES?
NES.
Oh, okay.
If it was SNES, it would probably be really cool, done by JVC and LucasArts, and be a side-scroller in the style of Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures in the Super Star Wars series.
Yes. All right, so Cap, going back to a previous discussion that we've already... Well, actually, check and see if there's anybody... Before I segue into something else, or not segue, but transition into something else, why don't you look to see if there's anybody has made any suggestions about what they would like us to do a small, micro anything about.
Checking right now.
Nothing on the Twitters.
It looks like nothing.
All right.
But it also seems like it actually hasn't updated. But I'm not... well, we'll see.
Whatever. And yeah. Anyway. Whoa. Hey.
Yeah.
Anyway, so going back to a previous discussion was to be able to talk about Animorphs. Okay?
Yes.
Let's go back to that because currently you can get on eBay. You can get. Let's see. And I don't know why I'm doing this because I have no relation to the person who's put up this this auction. But apparently you can get all 60 Animorph books. All of the Megamorphs books, the Elmis books, and the Hork-Bajir Chronicles, all of those things right now currently for $62 plus $10 shipping.
That's like $1 a book.
It is. It ends in an hour and 58 minutes.
But since we're doing the episode with Michael Grant, one of the authors who was K.A. Applegate,
Yeah.
who created the Animorphs, talking about the new book that K.A. Applegate has done, the Catherine Applegate and Michael Grant, we're getting pretty excited about Animorphs again, and Colin's reading or rereading some material.
I am going to be rereading a lot of the Animorphs books, but I purchased the Andalite Chronicles, which I had not ever read, and they are. They're written for someone who is a third my age, but they're really fun.
Those books, they're fast reads. They are written for someone younger, in theory, but they really hold up. They're
just fun books, and they move. They're constantly moving. I never want to put it down. I don't get fatigued.
It's really good storytelling.
I don't get reading fatigue, as you sometimes say. Okay, I have an interesting thing that I looked up the other day. Do you know that? I'm sure that you do. That a lot of the Animorphs books were ghostwritten.
Yes, because Catherine Applegate had her first son Jake named after the main character of the book during the book's run. And what I'm curious to find out when we interview Michael Grant is how ghostwritten were they? Did she step back but he stepped up? Was that the ghostwriting? I don't know. I don't really know what that process was.
As far as I know from what I have researched was that they are actually they found a whole bunch of different writers to write the Animorphs books. What they did was they then sent in the manuscripts to Catherine Applegate, in which actually she gave the outline to those people. They then wrote the actual prose, and then she did a final edit, and then that was the process. However, who it was, who Ghost wrote it based on the dedication. The dedication in the book is actually who wrote the book.
Okay. And she did actually finish the series. When it ended,
yes,
it was.
She wrote, she hopped in. She wrote 1 through 23, I believe, and then throughout she would piecemeal picking up 1 or 2 books in the series up until book 54. But she wrote, I believe, 52, 53, and 54. Completely herself. I don't know if she wrote anything close prior to that, but I do know that she wrote a couple mixed in between 23 and 52. So,
yeah. So to just
you'll hear about this on the next book.
To just pick up what we're talking about, we are interviewing Michael Grant, who was part of the team that made up K.A. Applegate, author of the Animorphs, in an upcoming episode of Nerdy Show Book Club, another one of our spin-offs that we do. And we are filling time right now and having nerdy discussions, hopefully with you guys, if you'll tweet us at Nerdy Show, because of some technical difficulties and involving Null Sleep.
Let me see what's going on in the chat. No one's sitting at the chair.
Involving Null Sleep, the amazing chiptunes artist who's performing right now in the other room. We're getting nothing but serious feedback from his board. If we played it for you, it would be awful. And at the very least, you can maybe tune out this, but I don't think you'd be able to tune out that. Perhaps we are doing you a kindness. I don't know. Oh, someone's testing some sax up on the stage. And let me double check to see who's talking to us on the Twitter. If anybody. We want to, we can talk about anything. We can literally talk about anything, especially we want it to be nerdy. We want it to be fun. I think we've already proven that we have some pretty deep knowledge of a lot of nerdy things. So, you can try to put us to the test. That's okay. If we can, we will. If we don't know it, there's a price to having all this knowledge about very specific stuff, as I'm sure you well know. We're all nerds here. Bleep blah. Ow. Yeah. All right. So after Null Sleep, it's going to be Moon Hooch. I've heard a little bit of Moon Hooch's music. I really liked what I heard, and I've heard a lot of good things about the performances, so I'm very excited to see them for the first time ever. This is their debut at Nerdpalooza. I didn't see anything new on Twitter, so I don't know if you guys have all tuned out, and maybe I'm just talking to no one, but, well, I like to have a good time with you, so maybe you should say something at me, Hopefully you will enjoy our error-free stream tomorrow. I can't really promise that, but it's been great up to this point. we've been interviewing artists all day in between sets, and we will continue to do so tomorrow. That was a mean sax. I don't know if you can hear it over this mic, but there's a very mean saxophone being played. And I'm still reloading Twitter. I'm waiting. Okay. All right, Darren Reed says, time filler topic. What's you guys' opinion of Power Rangers and its attempt to force its way forwards for nearly 20 years? Okay, I'll reintroduce this topic to Colin when he comes back. But here's the situation with me and Power Rangers. Power Rangers started. I'm watching it, and I'm like, dude, this is cool. I've never seen anything like this before. And I'm watching it, and I'm into it, and the Green Ranger stuff and the White Ranger stuff happens. I'm like, yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I'm into this. Okay. And it just keeps, and it turns into same crap. I mean, it was never going to get better than the White Ranger, Green Ranger thing. And, of course, that's not even what happened in the real show. Like, Green Ranger died straight up in Sentai. But, you know, I don't know much about the originals. There are those of us at the Nerdy Show Network who really, I mean, hey, you want a Power Ranger show? We can populate that with some pros, right? I'm not one of them. I stopped after that. I switched over to VR Troopers very briefly. I know. But it was at the time actually slightly better, and it was on at a time where really nothing else was on, at least for me, like in the morning before school. So I didn't like. I would have probably kept watching Power Rangers if I had been in a position where I didn't really have much of a choice. And maybe it was fine. So the other series happened, like Turbo and Star Force or whatever. I've actually never seen any of them. And I've seen clips of that one time that the Next Mutation Ninja Turtles teamed up with the Power Rangers, and that was awful. But Next Mutation was awful, so that's what that's about. We're going to talk about Star Wars. Come here.
I'm sorry that I left you a little bit high and dry. I was actually getting... I was talking to one of the members of the Geckos, and we're actually going to have an interview with them tomorrow.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
Well, look forward to that. And feel free to ask us some questions in advance if you want to talk to the Geckos.
Cool. Matt Spill.
All right.
Hi.
So this is Matt Spill. If you're a Nerdy Show follower, you may recognize him from our E3 streams, and also his voice, his succulent, sexy voice from State of the Empire.
I was wearing this shirt at E3. I think.
Doesn't have quite as long of a beard, though.
Yeah,
well,
such an epic
the playoffs aren't on anymore. So.
Yeah, I know. They want. That's why I shaved it.
But it's worked every year.
Yeah, it has. Like here's the secret. I keep the beard hair after I shave it in a little Ziploc bag. And
that was my suggestion.
Yeah, exactly. I kept it.
And glue it back on.
No. You just keep it close to you.
In a bag around your neck.
Yeah, and I went to Germany for the last one. I took the bag with me to Germany, hoping that TSA would not ask me why there's a bag of facial hair in my suitcase.
Yes. Okay, so some Star Wars stuff happened recently. It's small, but it's good.
Yeah, it's great. The Rebels viral marketing campaign started.
I haven't had a chance to check it out. Have you?
Yeah, very briefly on my phone. I don't know if it's different when you go to like your traditional setup, but like
Star Wars Rebels is the new Star Wars animated series headlined by the guy who brought you the Clone Wars, and most importantly, Greg Weisman, who created Gargoyles and Young Justice, who we'll be talking to next month on Nerdy Show.
Does that mean that the Rebels is going to get canceled after 2 seasons?
Probably not. This is maybe the first show he's going to do that isn't going to get canceled.
Do you think we can get some Gargoyles voice talent on Rebels? Can we ask? Can you guys like ask?
Well, maybe the entire cast of the Next Generation. How about that?
Oh my God, that would be perfect. It would probably infuriate too many like Trek versus Star Wars fans, but man, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So what happened?
So like SenarFleetSystems.com.
What is it?
It's SenarFleetSystems.com.
Spell that.
SIENAR Fleet Systems.
Okay.
And it's a website. There was no clickable links on my phone, but it's definitely a site aimed at supporting the Empire, which is interesting that they would take the side that like you can support the Empire.
Uh-huh.
So I'm wondering if they want you to pick sides.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they just revealed the villain, the Inquisitor.
Yes.
Which is probably like based on a long history of Inquisitors in the expanded universe that designed to or trained to hunt down rogue Jedi post Order 66. So like that means we're gonna have Jedi, or at least exiled Jedi or Force users in Rebels.
Do you think that Plo made it?
I don't think Plo made it, but I think Ahsoka made it. That's my guess. I'm calling it right now.
What about Ahsoka?
I care about Ahsoka. She's actually got some real like development over the course of the Clone Wars.
Plo Koon is the best Jedi in the entire history of Star Wars.
Plo Koon died in Revenge of the Sith, man.
No, he didn't.
No,
No, that was just a special effect.
So was the entire movie.
jokes.
Okay. So that's cool. And the Inquisitor thing, actually, you got a lot to say about that. We're probably going to repeat ourselves on State of the Empire, but what's neat about that is that the new villain they announced at New York Comic-Con, the Inquisitor, is based on a lot of pre-existing expanded universe content for Star Wars.
I mean, this dates back to the old Star Wars RPG material. Like the Inquisitors are like a department set up by the Empire of dark Jedi, not Sith. They're not trained in the Sith arts. Dark Jedi to hunt down rogue Jedi post Order 66. And there's some very interesting Inquisitors, but the way this villain's been billed is as the Inquisitor. Like, that is his name, the Inquisitor. So I'm hoping they don't just mold all of them into one and start rewriting history already. I imagine they're going to eventually. I mean, they kind of already have a Clone Wars.
It's okay. George Lucas rewrote history plenty.
Well, yeah, that's true. But he also incorporated some of that history, which is cool, including Coruscant itself.
Picks and chooses.
Yeah, I mean, what he likes, really. But
it's very, very cool and bodes well. And okay, I want you to explain Dark Jedi to me, because that just sounds like that sounds like
What's the difference between
that sounds like it's an oxymoron or something.
What's the difference between a Sith and a Dark Jedi?
Well, Sith is it's almost I would say religious, like a cult following. You don't have to be trained in the Jedi arts to be a Sith.
Sith is also a race.
True, originally, but the Sith cult, or the Sith, the Lords of the Sith, the reason why they are the Dark Lords of the Sith is because the original Dark Jedi that came upon the Sith Empire, they became the Lords of the Sith because they essentially enslaved them. They took over their society, they crashed on their planet. It wasn't Korriban, Zeos, that was the name of the planet. And they sort of enslaved them, made them an empire, and they were the Lords of the Sith, which is why the Darths are the Dark Lords of the Sith. But Dark Jedi are essentially, it's just Jedi teachings that are perverted to use the dark side of the Force. And I think a lot of people that are described as Dark Jedi aren't actually Dark Jedi. They're simply users of the dark side of the Force, and Dark Jedi is just kind of a term that sort of encapsulates that.
Okay, it's weird, but I get it.
Yeah, I mean there's some. Wikipedia has a very decent explanation.
Wikipedia, guys.
It's the best. It really is.
Get over there. Okay, so there's another piece of news, though, and this is definitely in the speculation category.
The Darth Vader TV specials that supposedly were just discovered based on a Star Wars upcoming brochure. There's other things, including like a Star Wars Lego game coming out for like the mobile platforms.
Is this all released from the Latino Review or whatever it is?
No, actually it wasn't Latino Review. For once, it was coming soon. So, it's a little more legitimate, but yeah, I mean, Darth Vader TV specials. I'm hoping for a holiday special based on Darth Vader.
And Matt and I were talking earlier, because they can do holiday specials now because George is gone. They can be like, hey, here's holiday special on DVD. Too bad, dude.
Do you think Natalie Portman would do a solo song?
Yes.
Or a ballet piece, maybe? She's good at that.
With her little baby.
And instead of like Jefferson Starship, we can get Empire of the Sun. Just modernize it, Or, maybe Daft Punk could be bribed with the Disney money to be like, hey, you want to be droids?
Oh, God. Sorry. That excited me.
All right, so Matt, okay. So, baby Darth Vader, it's his first Christmas. That's the Christmas special. Baby Darth Vader's first Christmas.
Well, I feel like it should be Daddy Darth Vader with his children.
It's a whole, it's like Muppet Babies, but with Darth Vader.
And sponsored by Volkswagen because they like the mini Darth Vader.
Yeah, with the kid. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Baby Darth Vader, first Christmas. What do you think he opens? What's the first thing that you think that he opens under the tree?
Well, first of all, it's Life Day. It's a Life Day present.
Present.
Put me on the spot. I mean, obviously, it's going to be his first Sith lightsaber, right?
Okay.
Given to him by Palpatine.
Right. Right.
Voiced by Seth MacFarlane.
Have you guys read Vader and Son and Vader and his Little Princess by Jeffrey Brown?
No, I haven't, but I've actually seen it. Where did I just? In Clint's house. Sorry, I just saw it.
Yeah, it's Jeffrey Brown, amazing indie comics artist, has these adorable books of this. It's not even remotely continuity, but it's Darth Vader hanging out with in one book is hanging out with Luke as a kid or a teenager, and it's oh man, family problems, kids, am I right? But these weird Star Wars scenarios of the kids, am I right, kind of thing. So there's one for Luke and one for Leia. They're actually both in both of them, but one has a focus. They're pretty great Father's or Mother's Day presents for the Star Wars fans in your life who have children. But they're also like they're just really fun. And Jeffrey Brown is such a great cartoonist. So check those out if you haven't. They're really cool.
Okay, so Matt, this is in Stay the Empire. It's a Star Wars speculation podcast. That's what is said after Stay the Empire. What do you think? Since we're just spitballing here, what do you think, in your opinion, is going to happen in Episode 7?
First of all, I do.
What
think,
isn't gonna happen?
I know. I do.
Where do you think it's going? Like, I'm saying not necessarily specifics, but based on what you've been hearing on the casting rumors and all that kind of stuff, like, where do you think that they're going to go with it?
I do think there's going to be the main protagonist is going to be a female. I really think that's the first thing I'm going to call. I mean, there's been some rumors about Chloe Grace Moretz being the
hit girl, right?
Yeah, hit girl, exactly. And I mean, she would be perfect for playing a.
She would be.
I mean, yeah, and I know she's recently said that she would love to be in Star Wars, but she hasn't heard from J.J. Abrams. And
well, that was in response to the rumor that Michael Vaughn or somebody was directing. So
yeah, Matthew Vaughn. Yeah, because being that she's worked with him, obviously. But I think she would be great. She's a great actress and would be a strong protagonist for a Star Wars, film, and it'd be great. I don't.
Do you think that she would be related to any of the original, the original team?
She's a Skywalker, Colin.
Yeah, I mean, she may be like Leia's. She might be a daughter of Han and Leia, but a Skywalker still.
Okay, we're actually able to cut to Moon Hooch. So here's Moon Hooch, guys. We did it! We did it! Woo! Yub yub!
Triple high five.
Turtle power.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the rest of our live stream from Nerdpalooza 2013 for more awesome performances and artist interviews. And if you like what you saw, click like and subscribe to Nerdy Show's channel. Also, be sure to check out all of our podcast programming over at nerdyshow.com. From comics and video games to science and technology, if it's geeky, we've got you covered.